Hello, once again, and welcome to this series of podcasts on quality management system essentials. And today we are covering the last of the essentials, which is personnel. I left this purposely for the last podcast because personnel are the most important component in any management system. And stay with me to the end of this podcast. Please don't forget to visit my YouTube channel. And while there, please like and subscribe. Leave your comments, suggestions, reviews on how this podcast series has helped you in your work. Um, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start a new series on at the helm, leading your laboratory, that you're the research team lead, you're the lab director, you're the lab manager, you have a team around you. This could be postdoc students, this could be PhDs, it could be masters, could be full-time employees. So we're going to be discussing that. Anyway, so for today, let's look at personnel. And the learning objectives for today would be to describe management's roles and responsibilities regarding personnel management, establish a program to verify employee competence, improve employees' competency, identify potential sources of employee performance problems, and lastly, implement and maintain personnel records. The management of staff within the lab is paramount to a well-functioning lab. How well you manage this critical resource will determine the success or failure of your laboratory. Although laboratory processes are becoming more automated, in fact, we have almost fully automated laboratories, but at the beginning and at the end, we still find the human element. So it is critical that we have this human element and know how to use it properly. So although lab processes are becoming more automated, lab staff still make the ultimate decisions about methods and results. Staff must have the right qualifications for the job, and job descriptions must spell out what is expected of each position. So like I usually jokingly say, I could employ my mother, rest her soul in peace, but is she the most qualified person? Is she the most competent person? Employ whoever you want, but it must go through a competitive, fair, transparent process so that you're able to justify any personal decisions that you make. And also training and competency assessment at the beginning of employment and regularly thereafter will ensure staff remains competent to carry out tasks as expected. Lastly, motivated and engaged staff will perform at their best. So whatever you want to be, whether you want to lead as a chicken, with the mother hen at the back and the chicks at the front, or you want to lead as a goose or a duck with the duck in front and the ducklings following them. It depends on your leadership style, but leading you must. So let me lay out a scenario for you. You are a lab director. One of your two senior technologists has been temporarily reassigned to another lab. Your other senior technologist is sick, and the remaining two have not read malaria smear since their initial training several years ago. This morning, you have received 20 malaria smear requests. As you are unable to ensure accurate testing, you must notify test requesters that the testing will be delayed. So, as the manager or director, what should you have done to prevent this situation? One person has been temporarily assigned, the other person is sick, and the two remaining ones have not read malaria slides for a long time since they were last trained. So, and you have received malaria slides, and work must go on. So what should you have done to prevent this situation? We'll discuss that. So as I've indicated, laboratories staff are the lab's greatest asset, and they are critical to quality. They are also partners in public health and are qualified professionals. So I don't like this idea of calling people lab staff, nursing staff, or whatever staff, because these are highly skilled, qualified professionals. They must be given the recognition that is due to them. So call them laboratory scientists, call them laboratory technician, laboratory assistant, laboratory technologist, whatever name, but give them the respect that is due to them. In managing personnel, the first thing that you want to look at is job qualifications, putting the right person in the right position. And even after you've done that, job descriptions or position description, so they call them JDs or PDs. And once you have done that, you have onboarded the person, you must provide them with orientation and then initial training. Doesn't matter how well their CV is, and that, they tell you they can do whatever they can do and they were doing in the previous positions, but you must give them training in your laboratory. And even after providing them with this training, you must perform competency assessment. Are they competent to perform the task that you give them? So always trust, but verify that they are able to perform the task you assign them. Also provide continuing education. Professional bodies, professional associations have got a minimum number of hours of continuing professional education, CPEs or CPDs that are required for each cadre every year. So ensure that you provide this for your staff. And at regular intervals, whether at 6 months intervals or annually, or when there is an occurrence, you also perform appraisal. And that the number of staff that you have is equal to the workload. One of the most common complaints that I have come across is when staff say that, the workload is too high. It could be true, it could also not be true, and it could be far-fetched. So you have to be able to determine what is the workload, what are the individual tasks, the time required to perform these tasks, the resources that are available, and that these are matched to the staff that you have. Motivated employees are more committed to their work. And simple things like praising your staff and say, good job, Peter, good job, Mary, fantastic work, and recognizing the work that they're doing will also enable you to improve their morale. Also, it doesn't hurt anybody by providing bonuses if and when that is allowed and resources are available within the institution. And sometimes also, if possible, to have a flex hours or flexible time, somebody coming in early or leaving late, or coming in late and leaving early, whatever flexible arrangement there is. I have had instances where my staff have requested for time to go to school, and I said, yes, indeed, you can go to school, but I need so many PCR tests performed within the week. So this particular staff, I remember very well that she would come in at night, do her work, and by 4 o'clock in the morning, she's gone. And she'll be in class the whole day. The next day, she had enrolled for a master's degree. This person already has finished her PhD. So it is a win-win situation, win-win for the employer, that the task that this person was employed for has been done, and the staff has also gone to school. So laboratory managers shall have job descriptions that define qualifications and duties for all personnel. Just don't assign people. This is an ISO 15189 requirement for job descriptions. There must be a very clear description that defines the qualifications and the duties for all the staff that are working for you. So you have a qualified new employee, as we just discussed. You provide them with orientation and a very clear job description of the work that has been delegated to them, the scope of their work, and the task-specific training has been provided. A competency assessment has been given, And if they have failed the competency assessment, that you have provided them with retraining and for the specific tasks, and then again perform the competency assessment. And then after that, competency recognition. Please recognize that they are competent in such a task for a certain period of time. And then there are competency assessment methods, two ways. One is via direct observation, and we have a checklist with the technologist's name or the technologist's title, technician or scientist, whatever you call them. And then the procedure for evaluation, the procedure item, whether it's reading a procedure manual, equipment setup, and appropriately work areas need, reagent preparation has been done, performing task accurately, performing task in a timely manner, and other procedure items. And then on the evaluation date, whether they have passed or passed partially or not passed that particular task, and the evaluator's comments inserted in that form. It could also be via indirect observations by monitoring the records and retesting, and also case studies. So for policies and processes, policy writing is a management responsibility, and the manager should review these policies annually and modify them when necessary. If they don't have to be modified, then you can assign them again that they're still in active use, and the ones which are obsolete must be removed in the work areas. So for these processes, you have to determine who will conduct the assessment, what will be assessed, and when will the assessments occur. So whether it is the QA officer or QA manager, or the line manager, or it is the lab director who will conduct the assessment, then you have to determine that. What will be assessed, you also must determine that, and when will these assessments occur. So as I said, we have the competency assessment documentation. We should and must use the standard forms, date, and keep confidential. These records should only be accessible to the line manager and the QA manager. Provide on the bench training or retraining as necessary, and also provide continuing education. There are resources online which are given at no cost. Use those. There are those that you must buy. Make sure that you buy those. For example, the IATA training for the transportation of dangerous goods. Those are required, and you must buy that and train them. And so the training methods and resources should not be fancy. Please use what you have, whether it is a chalkboard, it is a whiteboard, whether it is sticky labels, whether it is books, it's online, it's whatever method that you use the resources that you have to be able to deliver the training that your staff require. So in performance appraisal, you want to look at adherence to policy. What I normally do is I have the staff perform the appraisal by themselves, and then we sit down together and go through it, and then I also make my remarks. So adherence to policy, observation to safety, how well do they communicate, how well do they provide customer service, punctuality, professional behavior, and competencies. So let me give my experience. I'd just changed employers, and after 1 year, I was going through the annual appraisal, and at the end of the appraisal, I'd had a difficult year that year. Yeah, it was the second year. And my line manager asked me at the end of the appraisal if I had anything to say, and I said yes. And I said, I'm considering leaving this employment. And he asked me why. I said, because it seems that I am the Jonah in this ship, and I'm making the ship rock, so it's better for me to leave so that the ship can sail safely to harbor. And he kept quiet for some time. Then he said, you know, in that ship, the only person that was called by name and we remember to date is Jonah, who later became a prophet. We don't remember any of those other fellows who were complaining about Jonah. That was my epiphany moment. And that, you might think that you're the troublemaker. You might think that you're the person who needs to leave the team so that the team can be stable. But it might be the other way around, that the team needs to leave because you're the one who is providing the stability. So provide the person being appraised with an opportunity for them to give you feedback, for them to tell you where their difficulties have been, where the successes have been, and recognize those achievements. You can recognize them by giving, a honor award, more than meeting objectives award, bonuses, as I said earlier, and make sure that, the performance appraisal meeting is formal, it's regular, however regular you want it to be, constructive, objective, complete, fair, and documented. I have heard of instances where, appraising officers tell the staff, do you remember the 6th of June 2 years ago? You came late at such and such a time? Like, really? You can't keep those kinds of records. If that was resolved at that time, please don't bring it up. Don't use punitive things, and because you're looking like the avenging angel at that time. In fact, you should not even be called an angel, because the person may have genuinely made an error, and that was resolved at that time. So why wait for 2 years to bring it up, or why wait for 1 year to bring it up in the appraisal session? And so the personnel records, these are different from the ones that are kept by the human resource department. These are kept in the lab. They must be confidential. They include training records. They include the competency certificates and assessments and the performance appraisals. So in summary, personnel management is critical to success of a quality management system, and job description should accurately describe tasks and authorities, and competency must be assessed. And as I said, you can trust but verify. Training will help to assure competent staff. And it's just about training. I know of people who just love trainings and love certificates. Some certificates are not worth the paper they're written on. But there has to be a record of the training that has been provided. Methods for attracting and retaining personnel must be addressed. The key message for this podcast is that personnel are the most important resource in the laboratory. Managers must create an environment that will fully support all lab personnel in order to maintain a high quality of lab performance. And lastly, continuing education is vital to personnel competency. We never stop learning. We learn until our last breath. So thank you for keeping me company over the last 14 weeks. I hope that you have not only enjoyed but benefited from this series of podcasts. Please visit my YouTube channel. The link is in the comment section below. And while there, don't forget to subscribe and like and leave your comments, your questions, your concerns, and anything else that feedback that you might want to leave there. So I'll see you soon in another series of podcasts. So bye for now.